Hey, this is Tim Pierce. I found Ross Campbell on YouTube quite some time ago, and I was very impressed with his playing and his teaching. He was in LA recently. I had him come over. We had a nice conversation. We started out talking about 3 notes per string, but it morphed into a bunch of other conversations about other things. I realized that as a self-taught guitar player, I use 3 notes per string for a lot of my speed. You know, especially as I'm advancing up the neck, down too. But I never said the words in my mind, 3 notes per string. A lot of my playing, because I'm self-taught, doesn't come attached to any verbal concept. So I'll be doing stuff, and then I'll see somebody talking about it on YouTube and realize, oh, that's what I've been doing all these years. Ross talked about when learning a major scale, he likes to know it in the 7-note version and the pentatonic version everywhere on the neck. So if we're in A major and we're using the 7-note version, so all over the neck, basically, everywhere. And then also learn it in a pentatonic fashion. I threw in a 6th note. Anyway, you get the picture. So if you can do it both with the 5-note scale, you get flavor changes. And that's what I try and do when I solo. I'll switch from pentatonic, which might give me more of a southern kind of blues thing. And then I'll switch to the 7-note scale, which will give me a more melodic approach. Back to pentatonic. Back to the 7-note scale. So then we started talking about picking. I alternate pick everything, but I realized that with 3 notes per string, if I economy picked, so it was down, up, down, and then down, up, down, rather than down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, I might be able to play this faster. I'll show you. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, so on and so forth. It's kind of freaky to do because my mind wants to revert to the alternate picking, but that's what's good. It's a new learning thing for me. The idea of economy picking led me to realize that I actually use sweep picking, not like a shredder would, but to play pieces of chords and arpeggios in the context of a melodic solo. Now, when I go back to the 2 solos we just played, one thing about Ross is he's seasoned beyond his years. I mean, I'm really impressed with it. He plays like a much older soul, and that's an awesome thing. It's going to help him a lot when he moves to Nashville and starts doing, tours and sessions in Nashville, which I think is going to happen pretty soon. I wanted something different. When I played, I picked up the Duesenberg so that my hands would be forced into a different kind of mode. This PRS practically plays itself. The action is really low, the strings are really light. I can really fly on it. The Duesenberg has a chunkier neck, wider neck, and it asks me to play more chordally and compositionally. So because he played this really great classic blues rock kind of solo, I felt compelled to go to a different place. What he did is probably the first thing I would have done. That's right where I would have gone first. But because he got there first and he did it, I had to choose something else. So I picked up the Duesenberg, dumped a bunch of reverb on it, used the wang bar, and did a different kind of solo. So here's our conversation. I hope you enjoy it. Click the link below if you want to check out the 14-day free trial in the Masterclass. We're up to over 100 hours of lessons and content. What do you visualize when you see a scale? What's your preferred visual representation? Can you just show me on the guitar?
Yeah, so I mean, I visualize, say, the major scale in 7 patterns. Some people opt for 5 using the caged system, I guess.
Right, yeah.
I don't really know too much about caged, but the way I was taught was 7 patterns of the major scale, so, or in addition to that, I'm also visualizing the major pentatonic versions of those positions.
The 5-note versions.
Yeah, the 5-note versions, right. Exactly. Yeah. So with your 7-note scale, you've also got a 5-note version. So most of the time when I'm improvising over a major progression, I am 90% or 80-90% visualizing the major pentatonic scale, but I'm also very much aware of the surrounding notes that are also in the major scale.
Right, those extra two notes.
Those
right?
extra two notes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I do the same thing because if I want to play in a kind of a southern rock style, and we're in the key of D at this moment, I'll go pentatonic. Five-note scale,
Yeah.
but then if I want to put a little extra melody into it, I'll add in the extra two notes, and it's really effective, but it does change your flavor kind of pretty drastically.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
And you make a choice, don't you? You make a choice whether to be kind of pentatonic. And I heard you do it. I mean, you were very kind of Allman Brothers, even though, were they even around when you were born?
I listened to Allman Brothers.
That was one of my very favorite bands when I was a kid, was the Allman Brothers. So I have a lot of that style in me. That and Leonard Skinner, all of those guys. But can you comment? I mean, one of the things I did when I took a shot at this solo is I did an ascending riff that's kind of fast. And I guess I use 3 notes per string when I want to do ascending speed riffs.
That would be a 3-note per string pattern.
So for me, it's effective if I'm hammering on and I'm trying to do some flash going up.
Yeah.
I guess going down too. Although I had to do 2 notes on a string in that one particular spot because I didn't want to repeat the scale note.
So if you want to do a really slick sort of shred lick, 3-note per string patterns are definitely conducive to coming up with those kinds of licks.
Yeah, and I am pretty well locked into alternate picking. Right, but I looked at my buddy Rick Beato's video recently about how he would relearn the guitar, and he called it economy picking. He would actually learn to do this. He would go down, up, down, and then switch over to down here and do it again. There's 2 downs because you're going one string to the other. It's more efficient than coming back on the next string that's down here.
Yeah.
But it kind of tweaks my brain a little bit when I try it.
Yeah.
I'm really attached to alternate picking, strict alternate picking. And I'm not much of a sweeper either, although I will sweep over 3 notes.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do little mini sweeps like that sometimes, but I'm not, I'm not
Me too.
5 strings or 6 strings.
Yeah, for me, it's just part of the melodic nature of what I do sometimes. It's either 3 or 4. But I can't do, we have these friends who can go, up and down, and you can't tell, what they're doing. That's really interesting, and you definitely have a flavor of a much older soul. So,
okay, thank you.
Appreciate your playing, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, thanks for visiting.
Thanks so much for having me. It's kind of surreal to be in this room where I've watched so many great players. It
won't be surreal when you come back next year.
All right, man.
It'll be very real. So please come back.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. Thank you very much.